think Rad AI is a leader in generative AI because this is something they've been doing for 5 or 6 years at least. They've been taking the text that you provide and generating the impression that you would have created, right? This has been that's the core product. That now they've created many more things, a whole portfolio or suite of tools, and I think they're gonna talk about some new exciting ones soon, based on that initial concept. But this is not new to them. It's just now the new models that are available that they can use make that product better, faster, more accurate, right? So, but they've been doing this from the beginning.
Rad AI has been impactful for our practice just from a time savings perspective. At the time of implementation, we were seeking a tool that would help optimize our workflow and give some time back to the radiologists, and we found that Rad AI Omni did just that.
So I was optimistic, but I was also fairly skeptical about how this would impact me. Since starting to use Rad AI Omni, I've noticed that interpreting exams has become easier and more efficient. I've noticed a decrease in the cognitive load at the end of dictating any report. It's been very, very useful and very impactful in dictating cross-sectional reports, or especially very complicated cases where there's a lot of findings and I now need to summarize all of that information.
It's come a long way. It's funny, I've used it for so many years now that it's actually like, it's so integral to my workflow as a product that, you know, we recently had a period of time where I wasn't able to access it just for a few hours, and it shocked me because I actually struggled a little bit to work without it. You know, I'm so used to having that first draft, you know, generated by the Rad AI product that thousands of hours of using that's what the norm is. And so when it's suddenly absent, like it's actually pretty eye-opening.
It's completely changed the way that we practice from a point of not only being more efficient, but we're less tired. People are complaining less about the shifts. They want to work shifts that have Rad AI on them because they know that they're providing a better service. They're feeling like they're doing a more complete job with their reports.
It's been quite a significant impact. I think most of the radiologists in our practice were surprised at how much it really sort of helped their day-to-day. One of the most common feedbacks that we got was, wow, I really didn't have to change anything in the automated impression, which I think was something that a lot of people were surprised about. I found that, you know, on a personal level, it does sort of decrease the mental energy of the day where you don't have to think about the impression as much because you've made all of the findings in the body of the report, and then you can sort of take a little bit of a mental break while the impression is being generated. And the other thing that I find is, you know, sometimes when you're doing the impression yourself, there'll be a finding that you forget to put in there, but then the Rad AI solution doesn't usually forget that. So I think that's another thing that's been really helpful.
It saves time. It prevents subtle laterality errors. You know, it itemizes levels. And I tend to be a very synthetic impression kind of guy. I'm not the kind of guy who just repeats things, but even so, it really saves me time. And the other thing that I've heard, not just for myself, but other people, is it decreases fatigue. It decreases mental fatigue. So I use that extra energy to think, to look at the images again, to spend time with my colleagues or patients. And it really makes a difference, you know, I think at the end of the day.
The technology is continuously improving. It's not a product that's a one and done. They're listening to their customers and making improvements all the time. And because of those improvements, that's why we decided to go forward and roll it out across our practice.
Rad AI are well positioned to execute in this space because I think you've built good relationships, you've been agile and smart. I think you've chosen very well-defined models, very well-defined problems. You've gotten footholds, you've executed well, you've built trust.
Our radiology partners were using Omni, and Omni was working well, doing its job, which resulted in more incidental findings to manage. And we came to them with a problem, and they helped us develop a solution from scratch. And as we've continued on that journey, we have open lines of communication, regular interactions, and what really has been meaningful is based upon the talent they've brought in They truly understand the health system perspective, which you don't really get from a lot of technology partners.
It will change the way you practice. You'll wonder how you ever worked without it, and you'll never want to read cases without it at your side.
Rad AI Omni allows me to do more of that. I keep my eyes on the images and do the things that I enjoy doing, and I get the chance to decrease some of the things that are administrative and depleters.
The models they use now in generative AI.
Generative AI.
Generative AI.
Pattern type classifiers as well as the generative large language models.
From my perspective, the best AI tools are those that truly assist and augment an existing process or workflow. And we found that to be the case with Rad AI Omni. I would say that Rad AI are certainly thought leaders in the generative AI space.